First up, we have Necromantic versus Necromantic, Diomed against Andy Davo, two incredibly good players, both on their favourite teams. Diomed was in the final of the season finals. He was the runner-up to Strider last time out. This is his Necromantic build on the screen now, Jimmy. This is not the one you would have gone for, I think.
It's not what I would have done. No, it's interesting. He's got the advantage that he has over Andy is 13 players. This will help in the third game, if there is one, in overtime, having an extra player. And it will help just generally, if the dice are bad for him, he'll have another player, whereas Andy won't. It means he can foul sometimes a little bit more. But, most of this roster is the same. 90% is the same. They've both got a block wolf, they've both got a block ghoul, they've both got 4 guard, and they've both got up to 12 players. So the difference is Diomed has a wrestle ghoul and a zombie instead of a second wolf.
So I've had the privilege of playing against Diomed on this roster in your Super League, Jim. And I was playing Wood Elves, and I really thought he would foul because he's got 13 players, and he didn't really. So I'm not necessarily expecting a fouling game from him here, especially against Necromantic, who with regen aren't that satisfying to foul.
True. But it means you can have like a cheeky shot at the ghoul or the wolf, whereas... And also, like, versus Wood Elves, you've got to concentrate on protecting the ball so much. It's not always so easy to get a big gang foul against. But, yeah, I mean, he's doing it for the security rather than the high roll potential. But, if he feels he needs it, he may go for it.
So let's compare that then with Andy's roster, which has got the second werewolf. I suppose in terms of utility, if we talk about what you've lost, you've given up wrestle on your team because that is quite a nice sacking option sometimes, having that go with wrestle. Andy hasn't got that because he's just got the one ghoul on this team.
Yeah, Andy hasn't got the dodge as well. Like, Blodge and Rodge is a great combination to have. But what Andy has is 2 wolves. He's got double the threat. He's got double the coverage against, potatoes and, things like this. So he's a bit faster, but a bit less maneuverable because he's lost the dodge. But the main thing is the double threat of he's got more surfing threat. He's got more range. He's got more claws. So, and he's got more redundancy. If one of them gets injured, he's still got the other one. But it means he can play more aggressively. He can try to set up as many wolf hits as possible, whereas Diomed's using it more as a surgical tool and just sniping with it more.
Stylistically, because there is this subtle difference in the rosters, but would you say they also just approach the game differently, even though they're playing the same race?
Yes, exactly. Yes, Diomed is like a tactical genius, putting everything in the right squares, making it horrendous for you, whereas Andy is just a greedy banger, trying to hit everything he can.
Poor Andy, not hit.
It's just a joke. It's just a joke. No, they're both great. They're both absolutely great. But yeah, I mean, that is the difference, right? It's basically Andy is trying to get the high roll more. He's trying to get as many wolf hits as he can, as many surfs as he can. And because ultimately, the more players you have on the pitch, bigger player disparity, the bigger chance you've got of winning. Like, it's a completely sensible way to go about the game. It's really hard for Diomed or Andy to beat the other one if they've both got 11 players. But if one's got 9 and the other's got 11, then all of a sudden they've got a really good chance to actually win the game. So,
since we brought up this topic about bangers and not bangers, I know that Andy would swear down that this is a hybrid team, not a bash team. How would you characterise Necromantic?
Definitely a bash team.
Interesting. Because they have got the high movement, right, with the wolves and the ghouls. But it's very limited to a small number of players. Yeah,
exactly. And they're out bashing most teams, right? They've got Claw to deal with high AV, and they've got 4 guard, which is as much or more than most real bash teams. So they're absolutely a bash team in this. They're just a bash team that's also really fast and stops 1 turns and is just basically the premier bash team in the format.
I think one of the things we saw yesterday, watching Necromantic in action, we talked about it with Andy's team, hit denial is such a big part of their game plan because you've got those flesh golems which have the sidestep, the foul appearance, and the flesh golems that have got stand firm, they've all got guard. It really makes it hard to get desirable hits on them, and that is still true even against a fellow Necromantic team, because even more so maybe because you want to get those frenzy hits on the wolf.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they're both great at it. I did joke, but they're both absolutely great at the positioning to make it really hard to get hits off. And the thing is, Andy's got 2 chances, right? He's got 2 wolves, so that is going to play in Andy's hands. I do prefer Andy's build, but Diomed prefers Diomed's build, and Diomed's really, really, really good at Blood Bowl, really, really good at Necromantic. So, I don't want to say that I'm right and he's wrong, but, obviously in my opinion, I prefer Andy's roster. And Andy's also great at Blood Bowl, and he thinks the 2 wolves is better, so who knows?
I'm just waiting for a chat on when exactly this game is ready to start, because it will be any second now. We are very much on the verge, but if you're asking when it starts, the answer is very, very soon. Jimmy, when we get into this game, what are you going to be looking for as your first cues? Like, what are you first looking for in the first few turns?
Just who gets to receive, as we're about to find out now.
We're heading in now. There you go.
The Helen L Productions has won the toss. Wait, and then has kicked. He's chosen to kick. Oh, it's because it's raining.
Oh, wow. There you go. One of the first big questions, and we talked about it yesterday. You talk about it a lot, and it's talked about a lot because it's an important question, whether you should, if you win the coin toss, kick or receive. And I think this would have been a no question receive from Andy if it wasn't raining.
Yes, yeah, and I still think it should have been a no question receive. But yeah, I guess he thinks the rain is a big enough factor to choose to kick. But I mean, also the thing is as well with the receiving is Diomed's only got one core, so Diomed doesn't get to do a massive amount of smashing on the LOS, whereas Andy does. So it's I think Diomed loses more by Andy receiving first and banging players out.
Now, I did say yesterday I was mean on some people who had chosen the default colours, but I think for this game we might be best off going to the extremely helpful red versus blue mode that Blood Bowl 3 offers, just to make it more distinct, because of course both players have essentially the same position as we talked about. One team has one extra ghoul, one team has one extra werewolf, but otherwise they are the same. So we're going to use the red versus blue visibility to make that a little bit clearer for everyone.
Yeah.
Known on Andy's stream as Hendy mode. I don't even really know why it's known as Hendy mode on Andy's stream, but for regular Andy viewers, of which I'm sure we have a few, it is the Hendy mode always. So with the rain, both of them have 3 rerolls. How does that affect your setup on offense, Jim? Like, how do you actually change your setup at all based on that?
Yes, yeah. So you'd be a bit greedier for hits. Again, that's another reason probably Andy didn't want to receive, right? Because he'd have to temper his greediness. It's right though, right? Like it's not a criticism. It's not the removals is the best way to beat Diomed. If you try to beat Diomed and you've both got 11 players, even if you're Andy Davo, your chances aren't good. If you've got 11 and he's got 9, your chances are good. I mean, if you're as good as Andy, still most people would still lose to him. So yeah, Diomed's offense is tempered by the fact that he has to be worried about Andy coming through with the pressure with the 2 wolves. So he does have to maybe go a little less hard in the LOS than you'd like to.
Just to confirm for everyone, red is Diomed, blue is Andy Davo, and as we've just been talking about, it's Diomed on offense first. And after all of that talk about the pickup being the scary part in the rain, was that a touchback there, Jimmy?
It was, yep.
So 0 jeopardy on that pickup, and Andy might be kicking himself now, thinking, well, if that was me on offense now, I'd be much happier.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be. Yep.
Is there in fact even a little bit more jeopardy for Andy going on defense first than there would be for Diomed because his roster is that 1 player shorter?
I don't think so. No, I think it's more jeopardy for Diomed because of the double wolves. I think that's the thing. I think Andy here is smashing the LOS, probably removing 1 or 2 on his first turn, whereas Diomed, look, he's probably not even going to blitz with a wolf, right? This is the thing. Diomed doesn't have the high roll that Andy does. And when you're playing Andy Davo, you really want a high roll, So the fact that he hasn't got one, he's coming in with a blitz here, really needs a push. Okay, he gets it. Yeah,
both down there would have meant a forced dodge, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because pretty certain that if there's only 1 wolf on the pitch, as there is for Diomed, if Andy gets any chance at all to have a go at that, he's going to be prioritising that a lot.
100%, yeah. Like that is the big weakness of Diomed's build. He's really got to look after this wolf. Bright had the same roster as Andre, and I don't know if when Bright lost, it's because his wolf, his 1 wolf was the weakness or not. I can't remember. It's so long ago, I can't really remember. But I suspect it was, because funnily enough, he lost to Andrew, didn't he, who had the Imperial Nobility. So, lots of stand firm and fend. Maybe the only 1 wolf is a little bit weak then.
This looks like a fairly standard, and aside from that wolf blitz, not too risky first turn. Interesting that they didn't bring the ball up at all there, Diomed.
Yeah.
What do you think the thinking is on that, Jim?
Maybe he wants Andy to sucker into, going for the ball so he can try and, spread out Andy's team so he can pick one off with the wolf. And, because he's easily going to get into a cage whenever he wants. So, but interesting, not even an AV break there. That's great for Andy. And Andy's definitely going to try and get something going, but it's not going to be easy. Really not going to be easy. But he's got the 2 wolves. That's the key thing, right? He's definitely going to be able to get more claw hits in, you would imagine.
I know with these sorts of rosters, what we describe as resurrection format tournaments where players can't die, everything's coming back next game, and you get, as we talked about yesterday, every race assigned to a set tier, and you get a set number of skills to choose. I know with Necromantic, there is really just 2 schools of thought about skilling up a lot of these players. In fact, there's just one school of thought with a lot of them, but one of the areas where perhaps the 2 schools of thought is the flesh golems. Sometimes people would take block instead of guard. Clearly they've matched each other here. Do you have a feeling about that guard versus block dynamic and whether or not you'd ever take block over guard?
Yeah, so I think the people who take block over guard are some people only took 2 rerolls. So if you take 2 rerolls, I think you have to take at least 1 block there.
Which is the only way you're getting both wolves and both ghouls, right?
Yes,
so that's the trade they're making.
Realistically, yeah. You could also have 11 players, but that's really dodgy. So if you go down 2 rerolls, I think you basically have to have 1 or 2 blocks on the flesh golems. But I think with 3 rerolls, you can afford the guard. So essentially, it will come down to which matchups you find more difficult and which one, in your personal opinion, helps you more. I think there's a lot of personal preference in there, but obviously I go with the guard. Diomed goes with the guard. Bright goes with the guard. They were the 3 Necro people in the top 16, and I think that is a pretty much consensus. But some people can think other things and be right, maybe.
Well, I just think it's interesting that you brought up there the budget part of it. So that decision about if you're going to have the 2 rerolls or the 3 rerolls, because for instance, in some tournaments the TV might be reduced a little bit, and I suppose in those tournaments, if you are looking at 2 rerolls, you've given a good explanation of why in that situation you might rethink it and just want that reliability. Yeah. Because as we saw yesterday with Spartacus's Saurus, sometimes you just really want block skill.
Yeah.
And Necro they are quite light on the reliability, aren't they?
Yeah. They've only got the 2 block on the Wraiths by default. So then the other ones you have to give yourself. So obviously Andy's gone with 2 block wolves and a block ghoul. So the block ghoul can hit a little bit on defense. Of course, generally he's carrying the ball on offense. Sometimes the ball carrier can blitz, but again, usually not, right? So you've really only got two blitzers, 2 with frenzy, 2 without frenzy. So you've got 4 guys with block, which is pretty much okay. Whereas Diomed's got even less. He's got the 2 wraiths and then only 1 frenzy blitzer, but also he's got the wrestle. So yeah, they are a little bit light on reliability. They can get into trouble if they make a few bad rolls, especially with the flesh golems, because the flesh golems do want to hit things. They're strength 4. They want to be basing things up. No real attempt at any penetration yet from Diomed or any pressure from Andy. They're quite content to just stand in front of each other.
I think you said it a second ago. It feels like Diomed is almost trying to bait Andy forward. I'm sorry if everyone listening. There is an alarm going off here inside our studio, which we are going to just keep an eye on around us and see if this is a situation we need to react to. We are no more clear than you guys are about what's happening.
Andy has breached containment. He's escaped from the broom cupboard.
Gosh, yes, genuinely, I have no idea what's happening with that, but I'm trusting that our production crew will let us know if we need to go anyway. So for now, we are carrying on. We've just been given some reassurance from the studio, so hopefully all right. Apologies for the distracting noise in the background. I was just saying there, Jimmy, about it's really hard to stay focused here, but I'm going to try about Andy not accepting that invitation to go forward. But it is a bit of a conundrum here for Andy, because Diomed's sort of just locked down 4 of his players in between tackle zones with those zombies, hasn't he?
Yeah. So I think that's the thing. I think Diomed, he's got to get forward at some point, but he's in no rush. He's got Andy somewhat controlled, so just keep him somewhat controlled and then push when he has to. But now Andy's given him quite a lot of space if he wants it down the left here. It'll be interesting to see if he tries to take that or if he tries to fight what's in front of him.
It's so hard to stay focused with this alarm going. It's definitely not, to the best of my knowledge, related to Andy's attempts to microwave a mug of tea earlier, which did happen. The thing about going forwards here, though, Jimmy, is I think this gets talked about a lot with frenzy teams and also just bash teams in general. You want to hold the middle of the pitch for as long as you can, don't you? Because once you get trapped on one side, you're trapped on one side.
Exactly, yeah. And also, you know, you can go either way and stuff. Like, it's so much better to be in the centre. I guess, like chess, it's not something I've played, but that's what I've been told by people, that, you know, you want to control the centre and stuff. And it's the same kind of idea, right? You've just got so many more options if you've got the centre. And especially versus Necro, you know, you can get surfed on the sideline. Now, obviously, other Necro can't get surfed so easily and can counter-surf if they are. So it's not so bad.
Yeah, it's a team that you can use your stand firm and your sidestep to make those sidelines a bit more scary for you. But it's not just about getting surfed. When you head down a sideline, sometimes you just get stuck with no way of going forward. You just get stuck in a position where it's like, okay, they've now closed that and walked that in front of me. I can't go back to the middle. And the only way to go around is go all the way back and around. So that's a part of what you're up against. Yes, this might be distracting Andy as well, guys. I'm not entirely clear where Andy is in the building related to us. I have not actually been to his broom cupboard, but hopefully he has also been given the reassurances we have that we don't need to panic. But yes, definitely not ideal conditions here for the sound, and I'm really sorry not to be able to do something about that. I keep hoping that we'll get some improvement on that really soon. But for now, Diomed taking the hits on the line and locking down even more of Andy's players here now, right? Andy's got that flesh golem on the floor. He's got that wraith. Interesting sidestep there away from the action. I would have thought towards the middle would be the more natural way to go there.
I think he might be trying to chain his flesh golem out. That's what I think. I think he'll try and chain the flesh golem out.
Interesting. Yeah, I see what you're looking at. So by blitzing with that wraith now onto the zombie, you can push the flesh golem free. I really like that.
Yeah.
Andy plays with a 5-year-old in the background. It is true, Dudhams. Anyone who's seen Andy's stream knows his wonderful daughter does come sometimes and interrupt the game. So he's certainly used to playing with some distractions as well as the distraction, of course, of not reading his chat. Exactly as Jimmy predicted it, using that wraith to chain push the flesh golem out. We've just had a little update from the studio control that security are on their way to turn the alarm off. So hopefully that's going to be resolved very, very soon. I am sorry again to everyone watching for the noise and the disruption to your watching experience as well. We are working to get that resolved as quickly as we can. But we're staying with this game in the meantime because the game is continuing. And this is perhaps a sharp contrast with Andy versus Olivier yesterday. Andy versus Olivier yesterday felt, there we go.
Hallelujah.
There we go. The siren's on. Andy versus Olivier yesterday was very much high octane, right? It felt like because of Olivier's approach, the game is just played at 100 miles an hour. I think with these Necro games, however many we get in this series, whether it's 2 games or 3 games, they're all going to probably start off in a slightly cagey way unless something really unexpected happens.
Yeah. Again, not to belabor the point, but there's more chance of Andy steamrolling Diomed than the other way around. Definitely. He's got twice the claw. But yeah, certainly if that doesn't happen, you know, and of course, Diomed can still get lucky, right? He can get claw hits in and he can do things. So but it's more likely that Andy gets the luckier games. But if there's not a lucky game, then yeah, it's going to be an absolute slog, like for both players. Like it's, you know, neither of them give you anything, and it's going to be really hard, really hard game for both of them.
Shamba in chat was hoping Tree or Jimmy would drop some hot lyrics to go with that backing track. Shamba, you are very welcome to drop us some hot lyrics. We actually had, following on from our cast yesterday, we had the comedian Skink. We got some illustrations from chat, which I'm going to share later on. So if chat want to contribute us some lyrics, I'm not sure we'll perform them, but we could certainly give you our Blood Bowl alarm lyrics later on stream. Turn 4 now, Jimmy. How long does Diomed feel comfortable waiting before he feels like he needs to push forward?
I think he's going to probably wait one more. I think he's pretty confident. He's got the like, you know, you saw there the wrestle blitz the wraith. like he's got that Andy doesn't, right? He can 75% knock down a Wraith out of the way. So I think he's going to keep chilling. He doesn't want Andy to high roll him. You know, that's a real problem. Andy high rolling him. And,
you're very zoned in on this high roll. You are.
I am. It's the main way either one can win. You know, if basically if it doesn't happen, it's a 1-1 draw, right? You'd favour them both to get their drive done, and the way you win is by getting lucky mostly. Or you hope the other one will make a mistake, but Andy made one slight mistake in 3 games versus me.
Well, that's the level we're playing at, right? That's why these are the people in the semi-finals, because
absolutely, generally
the reason you win at Blood Bowl is making the fewest mistakes for the longest time. Not always, but in general, that's a pretty good formula for success. And something I've heard Andy say before is that a really well-played game of Blood Bowl essentially just should end 1-1, because oh my goodness.
Well, Andy got the first wolf hit in, and he instantly gets a Kaz into regen fail.
That's a huge removal on the flesh golem. That is half of Diomed's strength 4 just off the pitch.
There you go.
Crikey.
Well, I mean, I hate to be completely proven right instantly, but there you go.
I think you don't, Jimmy. I think you don't hate to be proven completely right. And I think Andy, in this instance, will not be sad about you being proved right either. I think somewhere in the building, Andy Davo is giving a pretty loud cheer for that removal. Very unlucky for Diomed that it was not just removal, but also the regen fail. So not seeing that again in the second half.
Yeah, and before that, Diomed failed the foul appearance to hit the Wraith.
Oh,
so
wow.
if he'd hit the Wraith, maybe that blitz wouldn't have happened. Maybe it still would have done, but certainly that was Diomed's plan, was to hit that Wraith.
I have one question about Diomed's approach to this offense. I have a few questions because I don't play Necromantic very often, and so the strategy is not that familiar to me. But also one in particular that's in my head right now, which is that flesh golem was very far away from where the other flesh golem is. And I think about undead, and I know with undead the receive wisdom is you keep your armies close together. You don't want them getting split too far apart. What do you think the thinking was with letting the flesh golems get that split?
I think he wanted to spread Andy so that he could, Diomed could go either way on offense, because he at this point he's consigned to like a kind of a late break, a late push forward and a late break, so he wants to be able to break to either side. Now with that loss, it looks like he's going to have to break to the left side, and now so now Andy's going to be able to react, quicker. I don't know, preemptively somewhat.
Yeah.
He can somewhat preemptively react to this push now, because he knows the push is coming down this side, and there's not going to be much less of a switch to the other side. So you're keeping your options open, basically.
I think like this, on the surface at least, looks really bad now for Diomed, because you've got the flesh golem on the left-hand side, but you've got both your wraiths stuck on the other side, and neither of them look strong enough to go down.
Yeah, no, it looks pretty terrible. It looks pretty terrible for Diomed. But what he does have is, if he scores this drive, he can still probably scrape a draw. Mm-hmm. So
because Andy probably wouldn't push for a win, even with that flesh golem gone, unless he gets more removals.
Exactly. Yeah. So if he can just get this drive done, but I mean now, basically the whole game is on this drive. If he doesn't get this drive done, Diomed is in a lot of trouble. So he's not in a load of trouble yet, but he's in moderate trouble, and you'd definitely rather be Andy in this situation.
Is there any argument here that if the ghoul had come forward a bit sooner, you'd be able to make the push now and not be having to go quite as far with it?
Yeah, but you really don't want to give Andy a 2-turn, do you? So it's...
In the rain, Necromantic 2-turn against Necromantic is not an easy one.
It's not an easy one, but it is Andy Davo, so you don't really want to give him 2 turns. He'll probably just get a timeout and get 3 turns anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's coming forward now anyway, and it's rushing as well.
Yeah.
So one more rush would put it in range if you wanted to go next turn. You definitely don't want to go next turn because it's turn 6. But
well, he wants the option.
And I think that's a really important difference, isn't it? It's not that you want to score next turn, but giving yourself if everything goes wrong, I can do this is sometimes really valuable, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And these wolves are so fast. He's going to blitz one here. Wolf on wolf.
This is 2 into 1.
It is, yep. Reroll it.
Yeah, I was going to say, any consideration for that reroll?
I would have thought about it.
Because now you've got something worse. But into a pow.
Oh, Diomed doesn't get a casualty on his first wolf blitz.
It's not always a fair game, Jimmy. Quite often, actually.
I'm not mad about my series at all, Cosmigo.
Wait, did you play against Andy in this tournament, Jimmy? We haven't brought that up today.
I did a little bit, yeah. The timeout was his game against Olivia yesterday, wasn't it? That was that subtle reference there. Oh.
I bet Andy will reroll this one. Yeah.
And he gets a Kaz. And it doesn't regen. So yeah, there you go.
Wow, that is the only wolf on Diomed's team. He, as we've talked about at length, only one wolf in this build, and I guess that is the risk that you take with only one wolf, is if that goes, you're done. And we might be in the world where Diomed needs to score next turn.
Yes, and then just lose 2-1 anyway, because Andy's got a 3-turn back. But yeah, I think he probably has to score now, yeah.
So I'm going to give you the absolutely so thin, I was going to say thinnest of silver linings, so thin you will not be able to see it without a microscope silver lining. At least Diomed has 13 players, so he'll still be able to field 11.
Yes, yeah.
It's not quite the same, 2 zombies for a flesh golem and a werewolf, but it's something.
No, it's the absolute worst possible players, 2 worst possible players to lose. The absolute worst 2 he could have lost. Yeah, pretty horrendous. Pretty horrendous. This is probably already a dicing, yes, I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, Andy is certainly, so far since we got to Montpellier, I would say, has been on the right side of important dice, hasn't he? And that's never a bad thing to be in Blood Bowl.
No.
So, what are we thinking about this next turn? Is it just a guaranteed score? Double skull for Andy on raging. I don't think you reroll this one, do you?
No, he's keeping it for the. He's keeping
because you're going to have to do an offense,
Yeah, he's keeping it for the 3-turn, yeah.
Is there any world we can get a stall out now by going back to the right-hand side?
No. No. There's nothing on. I mean, he can try, but it's not going to work, is what I think.
Humour me. Blitz with the ghoul onto the werewolf. Freeze up the wraith. You then dodge the second wraith, and you need to probably rush your ghoul all the way to the far side. It's only going to buy you 1 turn at best.
Yeah, maybe, right? He's still got 2 rerolls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The problem is he only gets here with the ball.
Yeah,
right?
you need to double rush that.
So he's got a double rush. So first of all, you're double rushing just to stall. So straight away, that's a reroll gone. Second of all, this one blitzes and he's got wrestle, so he might just wrestle himself and then not. I guess you can try this first, and then if you pow, then you can think about it. But that's also blocking the path for the other ghoul.
To an extent, you might as well do that first anyway, because it's a hit on a werewolf.
Yes, yeah. You probably do his blitz first, but yeah, so he does that. Yeah, he doesn't block his path, he can hit this way. Yeah, and he gets the pow. Okay. So now we can consider it. But I still think it's a bad idea.
It's good to consider your options in Blood Bowl, even if they are the wrong ones. It's good to think about them first, and then you can always change your mind and not do them. But
he's just going to punch. He's
we're just punching here. Okay, so we think we're just scoring now. Yeah. Take your blocks and then go in. It's still 2 rushes to score, by the way, which can also fail. But does not fail, so...
As correctly predicted, if you make 2 rushes, you will have to re-roll. Simply not possible to make a 70% chance.
Absolutely. Well, I think, listen, this is the most common Blood Bowl knowledge there is that a GFI into the end zone is not the same as a GFI into any other square on the pitch, so that was always going to be at least a re-roll. This is pretty stinking rough for Diomed. Setting up with quite a deep line for defense here. Again, I'm going to give the silver linings because it's what we've got. The silver linings for Diomed are got 11 players, got still enough stand firm and side step to lock down the 2 sidelines with side step, lock them down, but make them hard to go through and put the stand firm in the middle. It is raining.
Yep.
And Necromantic are not a great quick scoring team.
No, they're not great.
That's not what they're most built for. Even though they've got speed, because they are agility 3 and they've only got a small number of actual ball carriers, you can't do that elf thing of giving yourself a range of options. You've really got to go with one route and commit to it. So it's looking very, very rough, but it's not over.
Don't say it's over.
Don't say it's over.
No, this is definitely. I still don't think Andy will go for the win in this. If Andy ends this half 1-0 down, I still don't think he'll push for the win in the second half.
Depends how many more he kills on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Okay, true. Unless he makes a few more cards, I don't think he'll push for it. I mean, the biggest silver lining for Diomed is a draw will be fine at this point, and he's still got the other games to come. So playing for the draw is way better than it going to overtime. Overtime, he just loses this game probably, right? Like it's probably over for him if this is going.
If this was an overtime game, yeah. So no overtime here again, everyone. Overtime can only happen in the final game. So we will get 16 turns here no matter what.
Quick snap, not super impactful. See, this is what I mean about Andy being a greedy banger, right? He's got a 3-turn touchdown, and his Wolves are on the LOS punching zombies, right? Because he just wants to remove players.
Wow, he's taking both of those now. I am surprised about that. Because you do need to get this forward quickly, and that is a deep kick as well, which is not the best. The quick snap has made it a little bit less bad, but the bounce as well could either be very helpful or not so helpful.
Yep.
2 more to move. I think, yeah, you move your flash golems, don't you? Okay, you're picking a side and going that way. So maybe we are going to free up the wolf on the left with our block on the line rather than using that one to hit on the line.
Maybe, yes. I feel like he'll be blitzing a Wraith with Fleshy, though.
Just quietly, Andy did get the best possible scatter there. just quietly.
Of course he did.
1 out of 8 best scatter.
Okay, no, of course Andy's taking both wolf hits.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I just think with 3 turns, I'm very surprised. I suppose in terms of the actual movement on them, there's no issue for those wolves covering the rest of the squares there are to the end zone, are there?
Yeah, like you've got to get other things in front of them, and the rest of your team is movement 4. So there's no point them trying to run up and just get blitzed and die. So it's completely reasonable to do this.
I think he probably would have preferred that wolf didn't push first, because now it's slightly, I don't know if exposed is the right word, but you could maybe do something with that. Although the stun makes it probably a little bit harder.
Yeah, the stun saves him completely.
Yeah.
Just score on the Wraiths, yeah. Maybe that's Andy's plan. Block with the Wolves, score with the Wraiths. That seems pretty good.
It's an interesting conversation. Really fun thing about hanging out with Jimmy and Andy is you hear these fun conversations about some of the really noodly little details of top-level Blood Bowl that come up when they're talking about games, and talking about yesterday's games. For those of you who saw Andy's game against Olivier, Andy was observing that using the Wraiths as cage corners against Wood Elves was something that he regretted, because actually the not having hands meant that it's not just a risk, it's a guarantee that if you get a strip ball sack and it scatters onto your Wraith, it's going to scatter a second time, which is what the Wood Elves want and what your Necro team doesn't want. So that's not so relevant to this matchup. This is probably not so much of a into the cage sacking kind of matchup, but really interesting observation from someone. And even in this top level, seeing someone who plays the game and then afterwards has that realization that actually there was something there that I could have done differently, that gives you even better position. So yeah, really that the no hands on the Wraiths, sometimes there's these little details and unconsidered consequences of how you position them.
So this is pretty strong from Andy here, isn't he? He's got 4 in contact over there. He's got his Wolves ready to cut to the other side as well. In fact, probably one has to cut to the other side. So tricky for Diomed still. Very tricky.
I wonder if yeah, I sort of can't see Andy coming to the left, but he's left himself that possibility, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, but both Wolves are kind of on the left, right? So, and the ball's on the left, just.
Diomed can't get a knockdown. It's going to stick that flesh golem just in front of that Wraith, try to make it hard to keep moving forward. As you say, it's really hard to keep a perfect spread across the pitch here, and wherever you make that gap, because it was 3 turns and not 2, the zombies and flesh golems have got enough movement to stay in front of the play. Yeah.
Like I think Diomed's doing the right thing here. He's got to give up this right side, because the Wolves it's much further for the Wolves to go.
And they've got to go around those two zombies in the middle as well, even though they're just stood up.
Yeah.
Does Diomed dodge the Wraith here, or do you make them block it?
I think you make it block it, right, because you've got sidestep, so... So even though you're 55% to go down, compared to like 11 if you dodge, you want to save your reroll for the next turn anyway. Yeah, Dead Wolf, 2 claw hits and 2 Kaz no regen for Andy. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Dead Flesh Golem and Dead Wolf on the first 2 Wolf hits of the game. Pretty impactful in a mirror matchup.
And Diomed's hit on the Wolf was because... Andy's hit on Diomed's Wolf was because Diomed failed to hurt Andy's Wolf. So Diomed got the first critical hit in Wolf on Wolf and then lost because of it, basically, which is, reminds us of, Blood Bowl 2 when we had Claw Mighty Blow piling on. Your opponent would always let you blitz their Claw Pommer, do nothing to it, and then they stand up and kill yours. And that's exactly what happened here.
After a long thing, Diomed did do that dodge after all with the Wraith, which... It makes it slightly trickier, because now you've got to put your blitz into it, if you're going that way, or you can do it the other side.
Yeah, and you've only got, you still only had 1 chance to power it, I guess. So, But now you might, you could foul appearance, but you had 2 chances to foul appearance it as well, right? So, so you're almost certainly going to get to hit it, whereas now you've only got 1 chance against the foul appearance. And 55% to get it down. So this is a pretty good defense. I
actually wonder with that dodge if now Andy looks back at the left-hand side.
He may do, yeah.
Because the Wolves have got, as you said before, much less far to go to get through on that left-hand side.
Yeah, much easier to free them. And he can blitz the Wraith, and if he powers it. Yeah, so he's moved here so that if he gets pushed, he can sidestep across. I'm pretty sure.
Which does, in theory, let the Flesh Golem just walk past you, but maybe you don't care. Because you're not going to get the rest of your team past.
He could run behind you, He could run behind you, but then you just sidestep and close it behind him, which is all right.
Big turn for Andy. This is one of those turns where, and by the way, just quietly, Diomed's used a good chunk of his time bank there, but I was thinking this is one of those turns where you don't mind spending some of that time bank. It's what it's there for. Make sure you make the best turn that you can make.
To clarify, when I said Diomed lost, he lost like the Wolf exchange. I didn't mean that he'd lost the game on that. He definitely hasn't lost the game. He might, if he ends this half 1-0 up, he's got a real good chance to draw, because it's debatable whether Andy will even push for the win or not. So Andy's really just desperate to score this drive. Desperate to score this drive in these 2 turns.
We've said, well, in particular, you and Andy have said, because you're the ones who've been here in these latter stages. In this first game, you're so focused on not losing being the priority over winning.
Yeah.
But for Andy, if you don't take advantage of this situation, it's going to make you go into that second game thinking, I had a real chance to put this series in my favour, aren't you?
Yes, he basically never get a better shot than this, right, in terms of making an instant Flesh Golem Kaz that sticks and then a Wolf Kaz that sticks. Like, this is the game that you have to win, basically. So maybe he will push for the win if he ends the half 1-0 down.
Remind us all of that chat when Andy gets a better shot to win. But definitely this is a very nice hand to have to work with after not even 1/2 of the first game. Yeah. But as you keep saying, Jimmy, if it doesn't go in here, then the draw is very much on the table.
Yeah, huge chance of a draw. If it goes, it's this half. This is the half, basically, because I'm not even sure Andy will push for the win.
Well, and at that point as well, it's a phrase that I've heard Crystal Hunter using, the draw plus situation. It's not off the table that Diomed finds a way to win.
No,
it's unlikely.
Very unlikely. Yes. Yes, he's down a Wolf for the Flesh Golem. I mean, but you never know, right? Andy could quad skulls or make some horrific mistake. Like, Andy does make mistakes sometimes, not versus me, but sometimes.
Everyone makes mistakes sometimes. I'm yet to see any Blood Bowl player who doesn't make mistakes, despite how good some are. Everyone makes mistakes sometimes. So we did end up using that first Wolf to take that block because we only got the push with the zombie, which means we're only going to have one Wolf going through here. If any, with that rush. That was a scary rush.
Yep.
So Andy has ended up going for the side which Diomed offered by moving that Wraith inside.
Yeah.
So was that a mistake by Diomed, or is Andy being drawn into a trap here, I guess?
Well, this is one of the ones where it's not what I would have done, but I see why he did it, right? He's got the size. It's a better sidestep square. But Andy's, bracketed him, so he can't go anywhere good. So he's going to not going to.
Is this going to be a rush on the second hit? I did not count those squares.
It could be.
It is, and that's the last reroll.
No, it's foul appearance. Foul appearance fail.
Oh, well, you don't reroll that then. Okay. So it's on the cage or on the screen you're going to have. But yes, at least that wasn't a critical one.
Yeah. So realistically, one scoring threat for Andy. This zombie is one. Oh, so he's got to dodge with the ball.
Got to dodge because the sidestep, and doesn't make it.
Wow.
And that would have scatter caught if it wasn't raining.
Yeah, so Andy had to get in the scoring range directly with the ball as well. He had no choice there.
Well, that is a big break there for Diomed, but still very much not done. That is not a ball that Diomed can easily recover with that flesh golem stood next to it. So I expect this is more about making it very hard to Andy to recover it than recovering it yourself.
Yeah, the big one here is this hit on the Wraith. If you can power this Wraith, then he gets the flesh golem in here, which is amazing. Gets to smash this wolf, and then he's happy. But if he doesn't get this pow, he's in a bit of a pickle. And funnily enough, he wouldn't have had to make that dodge if Andri... sorry, not Andri. It's so confusing. We've been talking about Andri and Andy all morning. If Diomed hadn't put his Wraith there to then sidestep to here, Andy wouldn't have had to make this dodge. Yeah. So again, this is like one of those things where Diomed just makes a subtle thing differently to what, a mere mortal would think was good, and then it turns out to be incredible.
Top Blood Bowl strats going on. And I think another thing that I always think when I watch people commentate, and I think it's worth saying that we're here commentating, we can only see the plays that we see, and there will no doubt be turns throughout this weekend when the coach has got something completely different in their mind to what we're thinking about and as they're considering, and we just can't know that. There's always things going on.
Yeah, often you'll see somebody do something that the commentators just don't understand why they've done it, but it doesn't mean that it's absolutely abjectly terrible. It's just you don't know what they're thinking of.
Exactly, just a different idea. Big power.
Huge knockdown, yeah, that was absolutely massive.
So are we blitzing with the flesh column here onto the wolf?
I mean, so he could blitz the zombie. No, he blitzes the wolf. I didn't hear blitzing the zombie here, and then blocking with the Wraith to get more players above. So that's what I would have done. So interesting. So there you go. There's something different. I guess he's going to go for the pickup with the ghoul.
So you do go for the pickup here. You don't just leave it on the floor and ooh, something. That's only a zombie, I think, but
it is a 5+, isn't it? So yeah, maybe he'll just try and dodge and go on screen, or maybe he'll just punch the flesh golem. I don't know. Could just get another tackle zone on the ball. This is nice though, isn't it? See, so he's pressured the two scoring threats more by doing it this way. So again, just slightly different, right? I would have had two players here, and he's got two players there, but they're both exerting influence with guard. So really good stuff from Diomed. Honestly, Diomed is really incredibly good.
Listen, there's a reason why Diomed was in the final of the season finals and is back in the semi-final of this. He's pretty stinking good at the Blood Bowls.
Yeah, he's got the highest regular season win rate in Super League.
There you go. Although Andy's not far behind him, I think.
No, and Andy's very good, yeah. Andy's got 75% over like 30-odd games, whereas Diomed only played 10, to be fair. But has 85% win rate against the best of the best, so that's pretty incredible.
And this is the flip side of what we've talked about. It's a dice game, dice matter, but really good players tend to win an awful lot, even against really good players. So.
Yep. So this looks really tough for Andy, doesn't it? I don't see an obvious solution to this at all. The zombie can score, right? The zombie can score, and Andy's not going to want to go for a 5+ handoff and double rush, but he might have to. And now look, I wonder how much he's regretting these wolf hits on the LOS now, right? I think that was a bit too greedy for damage there. I think he really should have prioritise getting
So
wolves
what
down.
would you have done as the alternative? Because I instinctively think, yep, that sounds right. And then I think to myself, so what do? Do you just put one zombie there and leave it and not worry about hits line at all?
I would have probably put in the one Wraith like that he did, which would then facilitate clearing up the LOS, and then blockless blocks, do them later, and focus on getting both your wolves in good positions. But yeah, and at the end of the day, it's debatable how much difference it makes. But that's just my opinion, isn't it? At the end of the day, whereas we can see what damage does. The thing is, like, Andy's already got the damage at this point, right? So that's like you've got to modify your game plan as the game progresses, right? And at the start of the game, absolutely go for this damage. That's how you beat Diomed. But now you've got the damage. Okay, you've still got 11 players on the pitch, but his player quality is so much behind yours that I think you can switch gears at this point, go a bit safer, go a bit more for like touchdowns and a bit less for damage.
So, obviously a huge turn in the game here because it is not impossible for Andy to score. It's looking very tough, but is there a line you can see here at all, Jimmy?
There's nothing that I see, no. No, it's really not easy.
Is it as simple as try to roll a 6+ on someone to pick that ball up and then hand it off to the werewolf? You don't want to not try, right? Because 6s can happen.
Yeah, but I mean, how do you even do that? Like, bring in the zombie to 2 dice this guy, and then you've got to dodge in as well. So, like, do you pow him and then jump over? But then that's a roll, and then dodge. I mean, maybe that's it. You pow this guy. You bring in the assist, pow the flesh golem, jump over, dodge around, hand out. Okay, so he's going for the scatter, double rush to scatter.
I think I like the idea because everything else was so hard.
Yes,
but you've had to spend a reroll on that rush, which makes it now very unlikely.
Well, it depends. Let's see the scatter. Now it's super unlikely. Yeah, he needed a scatter this way. He needed
a scatter, right. Because there's a world there where it scatters across your flesh golem and ends up on the right side for the wolf to just pick it up and run away. But
yeah, he needed a
the Olivier scatter from yesterday.
Exactly, yeah.
Not to make Olivier sound lucky yesterday, because he really, really, really wasn't. But there was one turn where he got an amazing scatter.
Yes, that was the one piece of luck he had in the entire match.
But I guess now we stick our claws into another. Is Andy thinking about anything here? The problem is, as we talked about yesterday, most of these players can't even pass.
Yeah.
So you can't even go for that hero pass play.
He was going for the handoff, I guess. Where is it going? We don't know. It doesn't matter.
Well, that ghoul, by the way, is named Twitchy Chatter the Ignored. So Andy, who may ignore chat sometimes, I think right now will be blaming chat for failing the dodge twice on that drive. Yeah. He certainly has had the dice with the removals in the game, but to be fair to Andy, that 1 in 9 was unlucky and took away the chance to potentially score on that drive.
It was unlucky. He could have re-rolled the foul appearance on the hit of the ghoul, the hit on the Wraith, and also it was just great position by Diomed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That subtle 1 square difference, it just made the difference. So, it was unlucky by Andy, but credit to Diomed for making him make the roll, which a lot of people would not have moved it into that square and then would not have sidestepped into that and then would not have done that. So, yeah, great stuff from Diomed. A tiny bit unlucky from Andy, but yeah, he cannot complain about the dice at all for the rest of the game.
And same story we talked about yesterday. Again, exactly the same thing we talked about with Olivier. Great players, acknowledging that they're in a bad position, but not tilting, still doing their best to make the best plays that they can, and in this case, getting rewarded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really nice play from Diomed. And now the question of whether or not Andy goes against what we think and tries to play for a win here. Oh
my God, a vicious ref hits a Wraith. I mean, now he has to go for the win, I think. And I think now he has to.
God.
That's ridiculous. I mean, that is ridiculous. This is the game handing Andy the win on a plate now. I mean, he has to go for it.
He
has to go for it.
Oh, double skulls. Don't speak too soon.
Yeah.
How on that one?
Wow.
That is It's one of the meanest kickoff events, isn't it, Jimmy?
It's unbelievable, and it's the critically positioned one as well. Like it's outrageous. It's completely outrageous. Interesting that Andy still didn't blitz with his wolf, right? He could have blitzed with his wolf and got the wolf out ahead and really pushed for a quick score. I think he'll still be like trying to score relatively quickly. I think he has to. Like he has to, surely. I mean, you're not going to get better dice than this ever.
So, assuming you are going for that, what's your dream turn to score on?
Probably like maybe he's turn 4, turn 5, maybe he's turn 4, turn 5.
Because you don't want to give your opponent too long. I mean, now Diomed is down, even with 13 below 11 and with 3 key positionals, maybe you don't care, but there's still some risk that they can score.
And you don't want to make more risks scoring yourself, right?
Yeah.
1 turn to pick it up and get to here, 2 turns to get to here, 3 turns, 4 turns. So you're going to be adding some kind of crazy risks if you try to go quicker than 4. You can fail the pick up and score in 5. But you still want to try and score basically as quick as you can, just because it's not easy for you to turn over, even if Diomed's offense doesn't carry much threat.
The kickoff event, the Officious Ref, is of course the updated version of the old Throw a Rock, and the Throw a Rock used to be an injury roll. The Officious Ref, for anyone who's not familiar with the dynamics, the way that works is it's a failed pickup back there for Andy, which I don't know if he'll re-roll.
No.
Having already spent one.
I don't think he would have done anyway, right? Because he'd re-roll this turn. Yeah, he'd re-roll this turn.
But it's effectively the player gets chosen at random, and then it's a 1 in 6 chance to get sent off. Otherwise, it's stunned. So the stun would still have been unlucky, but to get the 1 in 6 send off as well is exceptionally unlucky for Diomed. I do remember with the old Throw a Rock, I think it was in Rebel, maybe it was somewhere else, watching a final where a team had induced Glart, which is a fair bit of inducement cash, and on turn 0, a Throw a Rock took Glart off the pitch.
Nice.
And you thought to yourself, that is pretty game ruining. I have a feeling that team still won, despite losing Glart, which was pretty impressive. But sometimes Blood Bowl can be very, very, very harsh.
Yep. And the difference with being cast is you can't use an apothecary or regen it, right? So like it's more punishing for the game now, but of course it's way better in a league, because there was nothing worse in a league than getting your star player killed by a rock with absolutely 0 pet play from either side involved. Oh wow, I wonder if Diamond's going to try and pressure the ball here.
Again, are we in the realms of maybe you have to?
Yeah, maybe.
Do something? Yeah.
Tags? No, it doesn't tag the wall. Because if he puts this this wraith here, ghoul, God, eventually I'll be able to speak. If he puts the ghoul here, he's like putting a bit of pressure on, right? Because if this is a pickup fail, he can just scoop it up and score. So interesting. Sans,
a favourite Officious Ref, was a 3-skill Dark Elf on a Chaos Pact team. That sounds awful for your opponent. Cheeky Jimmy having nightmares about Tree being sent off at turn 0 at Water Bowl. Oof. Everyone's got the bad beats and the good beats if you play enough Blood Bowl, don't you?
Yeah.
Here we go, there's one with Andy. There was a Throw Rock in Chalice 48 final where Andy lost a Black Hawk to KO on turn 0. One of the commentary team screamed that Andy should Apo it, but sadly that Black Hawk never came back from the KO. So sounds like they must have a pretty good commentary team, Dr. Helber. I don't know, it must have been someone who knew their Blood Bowl. So yeah, some pressure on this now. This 4+ pickup for Andy. Do you know what I like about this, Jimmy? It's not just about put the pressure on, you never know, Andy could fail it and score. That's obviously the dream scenario. But even if that doesn't happen, you kind of force Andy to come back now, because he doesn't want that to happen, which maybe reduces the risk of losing, makes it more likely it'll be a draw.
Exactly, yeah. He's getting a bit, he's maybe turning Andy's score into like a 6-turn score now, in which case, very unlikely Andy will get the turnover. So yeah, really nice really nice from Diomed. And I mean, a pickup fail is now just maybe a loss for Andy, which would be insane.
and I think this is like the thing where we talk about dice and Blood Bowl. Like sometimes even when you have what feel like the most one-sided dice, it only takes something really critical failing to flip it the other way.
Yeah, and you know, it's up to each side to make those critical rolls, right? Like that critical dodge fail, that wasn't just a random critical dodge. That was a critical dodge because Diomed set up his Wraith in that position, sidestepped to that position, and then forced the dodge. So yeah, incredible stuff. And he does free the Wolf. But it's not easy for the Wolf to hit because, you know, the Ghoul is protected by the guard here, so maybe the Wolf's just going to come back to cover the pickup. That would mean Andy not blitzing with a Wolf, so maybe he's just going to blitz the zombie F. Yep.
That brings the Flesh Golem into play, which I do like. You can use that to force dodges with these... actually, do you make a sandwich here? Do you bring it around the back? Yeah.
No, I think I would have put the Wolf there, but interesting. Not what I would have done, but maybe better. That's okay, isn't it?
I like the Flesh Golem square, though. I like the Flesh Golem square a lot.
Yes.
Because now you've jammed them between the Flesh Golem and the zombie.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, a blockless block. A blockless block, because he needs to get this Wraith back.
And now, suddenly, the win looking more and more off the table, to be honest.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Now, what happens now with your last reroll if you fail this pickup? I mean, you probably have to reroll it, right?
I think you're safe enough now. I think you are safe enough with it, with a Wraith coming back. I think you're safe enough. But yeah, maybe the Wraith caused a bigger problem, right? Maybe the Wraith should have hit that, and then this zombie should have come back to here, and maybe that would have been enough.
He has failed the pickup.
Wow.
It's a horrible decision. Horrible, horrible decision, Randy.
I think he can accept this. I think he can.
He does. It scatters the wrong way for him. There is a world where Diomed scores his turn, right?
Yeah.
It's a pretty aggressive set of dice rolls, but it's not impossible.
It's not even crazy. Like the problem that he's got is hitting the Flesh Golem, but because he can get what if he. Oh no, that.
Do you even hit it, or do you just say, "Nuff will take the wheel, give that Ghoul some dodges and hope"?
I mean, it's a 4-4-3, which is pretty horrific. So you'd really love to hit it. So it's just a 3-3.
But if you haven't got it, sometimes, because you're winning, right? This is not a situation where you even expected to be in this at all, and you're already winning. And if you make those big numbers, you win the game.
Oh, do you know what's better? You can just he can uphill blitz. Oh no, he's got wrestle though.
Yeah. Maybe that is still better. You're trading 2 3s for a 4.
Yeah, maybe, and then you push him, and then you're out on a single 3. So push him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7 rush.
I just think I'm weighing the success against the failure here, Jim. Like, because if you...
I still think you want to punch the Wraith. Punching the Flesh Golem's great. It's just great. That's the thing. Like, punching things is really good.
And you actually could bring the
other Ghoul.
The other Ghoul on
you could try and get the Ghoul through.
Yeah, so... Well, still questions though. Do you use the Flesh Golem to try to make it so it only has to do 1 dodge, otherwise it has to do 2?
Well, he's got sidestep, so you can just go past this guy.
That's his zombie for some reason. I thought that was Andy's zombie. Yeah, you can just get that up and move it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth chasing this. Oh, he does hit the Wraith first, and he pows the Wraith. Like, this is the thing. Like, punching things is good, you know. So there's a lot to be said for just taking the hits that you can. Punching things that you can is what got Andy in this incredible position in the first place.
True. And 2 powers, and got an armor break on that first one. That's also big.
Yep.
And another armor break. This is really starting to look bad from Andy. From what seemed like a clearly winning position, it's starting to look like this could very well not even be a draw.
I wonder if the Ghoul could blitz here. So then you've got an extra chance. You've got 1 dice on him, then another 1 dice on him. And if you pound with the first one, then you've freed your Wraith to move around. Right? They're like freeing the Wraith up here is really good.
And Diomed's still sitting on all 3 rerolls as well.
He is blitzing with the Ghoul. Yeah, I quite like this.
Oh, he's blitzing the zombie though.
Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, it's not what I would have done.
Gets a knockdown. I would have really liked the Golem hit there, I have to admit.
Yeah.
We've got to go for this ball, surely.
I think he's going to dodge the... Oh, no, he's tagged the Wolf out.
Just tagging the Wolf.
No, he's going to dodge the Wraith, yeah.
Okay.
Like, marking with the Wraith is way better,
it's
right?
Pretty powerful. Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
And does he 1D the Wolf? Probably.
Well, if you're going to do that, wouldn't you have hit it before dodging the Wraith?
No, because he wants to definitely re-roll the Wraith, right? He wants the Wraith here 100%,
Okay.
and then he can just have a go at hitting the Wolf if he wants.
I think I'd still dodge this and bring it over the ball.
He could go for a dodge on the zombie here, so that if he skulls on the ghoul, he's not out of position at all. So we might actually see a zombie dodge. No, we're going for a ghoul dodge as well.
I think I like that. Have two players there. I think I would have maybe considered the zombie dodge after that, which he hasn't done.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the zombie dodge here would have been real nice.
Yeah.
Way better than powing and killing that. Like, even if he kills this zombie...
It's not doing much.
I really like tagging out the flesh golem, like, so much. Yeah, I think that was... You know, I'm not going to say it was a mistake, but I really, really like dodging the tag. You know, it probably fails. I think,
yeah, exactly. It could easily
50-50 to fail.
But this is not good for Andy now.
No.
This is really rough.
No, yeah, this is... I mean, I don't know if I've mentioned it, but Diomed is really, really, really good at Blood Bowl.
Yeah. I don't know how to weigh up the two different sets of luck, but Andy has also been unlucky at the start of this drive. He has. He's failed his pickups twice, and that's the reason that's on the floor 3 times. Didn't he reroll the first one?
No, he didn't. He hasn't rerolled it.
But he didn't reroll that because he rolled a 1 in 9 before.
Yeah.
So he's had some bad luck as well. Like it's
the 1 in 9 was a blockless block that he could have made a blockful block.
Yeah.
I think this is... I think Andy failing a 1 in 4 pickup pales into insignificance compared to...
I hear you. It is 2.
Yeah, that's why it's 1 in 4.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 1 in 4, yeah. Correct. That's why we've got Jimmy in to give that advanced analysis of 4+ with a reroll.
Yeah, I think that pales into insignificance compared to a dead Wolf Norwegian, a dead Flesh Golem Norwegian, and an Officious Rev Wraith.
I mean, that's a crazy set of things to go against Diomed. But luck, it's not just about like the amount of luck you had, it is the moments. And this was a big moment for Andy to be failing those dice.
Yeah. But let's make no mistake.
Here's the question I suppose that I'd want to ask is, do you think Andy could have approached this whole drive differently to avoid being in the position he's in?
Yes.
And what do you think he would have been doing to avoid that?
Just play safer.
Right.
Just play safer. But he didn't want to, right? He wanted to push for the win.
Yeah.
So this is the problem, you know? This is the great thing that Diomed's done, right? Like, I completely understand Andy being a bit greedy here. It makes sense, right? You've got the golden opportunity to beat Diomed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to.
Well, you were saying it after the Wraith sent off. Like, now you definitely go for the win. I think you said exactly that. Like, you want to.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think you have to, because you're just not going to get a better chance than this.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, by like seeing those, you know, and seeing those like dollar signs in his eyes, not in terms of the money, but in terms of the glory, right? Like, honestly, like he thought, oh, I just have to go for like you have to go for the win now, right? You just have to. And because he did that, he said a bit more aggressively, but it's in the rain, and you know, Diomed scrapping for everything like Olivier did. And you know, this is the thing. Now all of a sudden, there's a bit of a chance.
Yeah, that deal. I think that's definitely a bit of my mindset on that one. I think Jimmy makes a good argument for the things you can control. I think both things can be true, but yeah, there's I
mean, Andy could have used both rerolls on pickups.
Yeah.
And then that would have been a 1 in 16 to be in this situation at a 1 in 4. He could have, he didn't need to have this flesh golem this far into his opponent's half. This zombie didn't need to be blocking with that zombie.
Yeah.
So he's made a lot of decisions to get himself into this spot. But as I say, I completely understand them. If you're ever going to be greedy, it's when you have 2 players up, 3 players up, 3 key positionals up against Diomed. Like, this is this never happens. Certainly not to me. Happens to Andy sometimes. This never happens to me. I made 2 cas in my entire tournament in 8 games. so yeah, I'd be doing the same thing as Andy here, definitely. But he doesn't clear the zombie there. That's unlucky. That's pretty unlucky. So there you go. This is a 1 in 4 for Diomed, right? He had 2 chances to power this guy, which would have freed a zombie up, which would have made the blitz on the wolf. Actually, he's got this one free already, so it's not that big a deal. I guess he would have had 2 into 2 this way. Oh.
Ooh.
Diomed pausing the game.
Well, I'm afraid to say we have no information about why that game has been paused. Hopefully it's just something that Diomed can quickly take care of. There's lots of reasons why someone would. I mostly hope just that he's even able to communicate to Andy what the reason is, because of course it's always difficult when your opponent pauses and you don't have that reason, but it's very possible that they're messaging and that it could be the things that Chad is suggesting. We all have nature calls sometimes. We all have people come to the door if we're playing games on our computer at home. All sorts of things can happen. So hopefully we'll get Diomed back very soon. Restart the game, says Chamber. I think that's probably not on the cards. If we get any information through from the players, of course we will communicate that to you as well. We've been having some lags apparently on the game, so I think maybe it's just hoping to smooth those out. Diomed is down to 1:55 on the time bank, so if there's some lags going on, it may be that he's starting to worry that those are going to cost him the chance to get his...
Yeah, he can't. He's not. That's why he's not choosing this push, right? He's got no decision to make. He's not re-rolling it. It's just he can't choose the push.
Yeah, which is very awkward if you're in the situation he is in, which is down to 1 minute and 50 seconds now in his time bank.
Wow, this is horrible for Diomed.
Yeah.
Blitzing with this zombie. So, you know, he had 2 tries to get that other zombie off. Couldn't do it, but now he blitzes the zombie. Gets the POW. Good, big POW there. Got a free ghoul.
Say again, the 2 armor breaks last turn were huge. The Wolf and the Wraith losing a turn in the middle of the pitch has really strengthened Diomed's position worse than Andy's position.
Yep.
Now this ghoul is free, and it is coming down the pitch. We need the scroll, Jimmy. Thank you. 1 dice to clear this ball.
Oof.
Put a reroll into it.
Oh, maybe, right? Because you've got this 4-3 to 4-3-4 to win. Doesn't do it.
I think you still go for the ball and try to win here, though, right?
Oh,
you rolled a 1 in 9.
Doesn't re-roll.
Doesn't re-roll. That is serious re-roll discipline. Oh, I don't know if I would have wanted to give up that chance to go for the ball there.
Yeah, I don't think I would have done either. But I guess he thinks he's got Andy in a pickle here.
Yeah.
Because, you know, this Wolf is still stranded. He's got to dodge off. He can't knock down the Flesh Golem here. The Wolf's got to Frenzy Trap himself. I mean, not trap, you know, 2 into 1. So this isn't a great way, or he's just got to blockless block him free. So, like, he's got no way to clear these wolves realistically, and he's got to worry about all of this. So, yeah, this is still very, very much a pickle. And Andy's not only win chances slipping away, but his draw chances slipping away right now.
That's the thing, and that's kind of that. It's such a stupid point, but it's still a true point in Blood Bowl. Even when the situation is bad, having a 1-0 lead,
yes.
In the end, like if your opponent messes up or the dice betray them enough, you're still winning. That's the point. It wasn't ever 0-0 because he scored on turn 5, was it?
6.
6, sorry, yeah. This was on the table.
Yeah.
So better to score. And this came up yesterday with Olivier when he turned down a score that you could have taken.
Yes.
Sometimes it's better just to have that point on the board and you can defend that position rather than to risk that stall and not have that point on the board.
Yeah, that was not a stall I would have considered in a million years by Olivier. I was shocked that he did, but I guess, you know, I guess he thought he's playing against Andy and he just has to have the extra turn.
Another 1 in 9. That is Andy's last reroll into double skulls. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Well, this is almost certainly a Diomed win now.
Oh, well, let's not get carried away. There's still nothing there for Diomed, right? Diomed's in just the same position as he ended the turn last time. Oh, no, he's not. He's got this player down and 2D blitz.
He can 2D blitz with clear.
Okay, this is almost certainly a Diomed win now.
Blimey, this has been... look, I think Jimmy and I have slightly different perspectives on this, but I will say this much. Andy's dice in this half have been horrendous. I
wouldn't say horrendous. They've been bad.
I think they've been horrendous. I think most of his blocks have been 1 in 9s and he's failed his pickups.
Here we go. Will Diomed? No, not
Diomed
yet.
Fails the pickup
Obviously
too.
Putting in the reroll makes it. Wow.
Huge, absolutely huge turnaround in this game.
Wow.
Absolutely huge. Extraordinary stuff. When that Wraith was sent off, I think this is the last scenario we could have imagined.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Like, absolutely. And it's strange, isn't it? That's Blood Bowl, right? Without that send-off, Andy probably just takes the draw. Plays sensibly, locks it down, safe moves first, stops pressure getting to the ball, and just, you know, takes the 1-1 draw. But because, you know, you've got to go for it. Like, you're not going to get a better chance ever than that. That's crazy. That's such a crazy opportunity to go for the win. So he kind of had to. We were just talking about what turn should he score, you know.
Yeah.
it was a golden opportunity for Andy, and that's going to be this is going to sting. Unbelievable amount. In fact, it's probably a loss. Like, it's so hard to
I
win. He's
suppose
got no rerolls.
it's not impossible. You score in 2 turns and turn over and go again in 2 turns.
Yep.
It's not impossible. It's very, very hard.
Yeah.
It's not impossible.
Timeout blitz. There's chances.
Do you know what else is crazy? Andy, of course, in the first half, to our surprise, chose to kick and not receive.
Yes.
And then it was a touchback. And then he goes on offense in the second half, and exactly the thing he was afraid of, which is not picking the ball up in the rain, comes back to get him really, really badly. So really rough. I think it's been an extremely unlucky half for Andy, but it was a very lucky first half. And so this is Blood Bowl in a nutshell. You should never count your chickens until you're over the line, I guess.
Yep. And K-Fog, please, come on. We're trying to do a job here, K-Fog. Don't say it's over.
K-Fog thinks it's very unlikely. It's not impossible. Is Andy going for a 1 turn?
No, because he'd be going for the wolf into the wolf if he was.
This is the bit which is mean to ask, but still maybe we should ask. Is this the setup Andy should have gone for on turn 6?
Yes, I think so, yeah. I think he had to really go for the, hell for leather to get the touchdown. I think he took it too easy going for the touchdown. And then, of course, now it's easy to say this half that he was a bit too lax in going for the... But, I mean, I would have done exactly the same. I think you have to versus Diomed. You can't look a gift horse in the mouth, right? You had to go for that win there. You just had to. But yeah, if he'd set up like this, and maybe if he tried harder to push through for the score, and maybe he got the score, if he's 1-1, this second half doesn't happen, right?
Yeah. Well, exactly. If it's 2-1 now, even you're still thinking, okay, well, I've got 4 turns, I can get to 2-2.
Yeah. But he would have played it differently. That's the point, right? If it's 1-1, he's gonna lay a protection, and he's not gonna let Diomed get through with pressure onto the ball.
Yeah. Jimmy, why are you licking horses' mouths? Let's not get started on horses. I think there was a whole discussion about that last year, in January even.
Yeah, it's funny how strange sayings are, aren't they? Like, more than one way to skin a cat.
I know. More than one way to skin a cat is such like a grim expression. It's like such a when you said it yesterday, it's one of those, I use it sometimes as well, but every time I hear it, it's still like, what a weirdly horrific thing to make as an analogy.
Yeah.
I guess this game proves that Wolves are pretty overrated. I mean, Andy's failed to pick up again. Andy, listen, again, you can't score a touchdown if you can't pick the ball up.
3-0?
Yeah.
3-0 now? Could be. I don't think there's any need for Diomed to defend here, actually, right? I think you just go and pressure again. You got 2 rerolls, and he's got none in the rain. This can double rush onto the ball here. So yeah, I think, he's not blitzed. Interesting. I thought the Wraith blitz into, zombie move around, and in fact he could have double based the ball. He could have double based the ball again. Instead he's blitzed with a flesh golem and 1 in 9. So he is just trying to defend.
More or less, Andy has to pick up and pass next turn now, right? It has to be a flesh golem pass, a ghoul pass to a werewolf.
Yeah. I see. I disagree. I would go for the 3-0 just for the absolute demoralisation of my opponent for the best of 3 series.
Again, for anyone who's joining this series who hasn't been watching the whole coverage of the tournament, you've missed a lot of great stuff, by the way. But if you're doing that, the scoreline does not matter. The win or loss matters. The scoreline does not matter. So I hear Jimmy on there doing it for the enjoyment of it, but it wouldn't actually affect the likelihood of the next game.
Yeah, correct.
Psychological damage only.
Exactly, yeah.
Some helpful input here from Tex-Mex Robot. You can tell a lot about the health of a horse by examining its teeth and gums. You wouldn't do that to a horse that's gifted to you until after the gifter is gone, but you absolutely look when you're buying. Well, you say that, Tex-Mex, but horses have quite a high upkeep. I don't know if I'd accept a gift horse at all. I've got nowhere to put it.
It's a very good point.
I live in a flat. I'm not sure where it would go.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed to see sensible play from Diomed there. I'd have loved to have gone for the crazy 3-0 absolute demoralisation. I mean, this is more sensible.
Pupa's cancelling my Secret Santa, apparently. Oh dear. So, this is absolutely last chance saloon. We need to pick this ball up, yeet it to that wolf, and
Oh, God,
hope
wrong
luck.
legs.
Oh God.
I mean, we are in France, so if there's a place to do.
Oh God. Right. Let's not carry on with this. This particular line, I think, is probably one to not carry on. Well, we've picked the ball up. We have not been doing that very successfully
Made
so
the
far.
rushes.
Made the rushes.
Hasn't
Fails.
made the pass.
Oh, nearly the stats. Has caught. It's not
But
even
he's
a turnover. It's not even a turnover. Holy cow! Not even a turnover. That is, gosh.
Incredible.
Oh, insult to injury there, I think, for Andy on the not getting that on the play you wanted to. It almost certainly wasn't going to change anything, was it?
No. Very unlikely to change anything. The chance of him getting a two-turn turnover is... You know, this is the point where Diomed's build looks better with having 10 players still, doesn't it, you know? And he would only have 9, but, you know, Diomed should still be able to hold him off for 2 turns, but he's not going to have to now. Unless there's a timeout or a blitz.
Yeah, I mean, if this doesn't get knocked down or blocked, I imagine Andy would still try to take the rushes into the end zone and do it anyway, just in case, because you never, you never know. If it's the only way you can win, you try.
Yep.
But oh dear, the horse chat. The horse chat. I don't know what else to say about the horse chat, except that probably not a good Christmas gift for me. There's other things that I think would be better.
Starts with a 1 dice.
Yeah.
Which gets him 2D on the ball. But maybe he doesn't want to hit the ball, right? To stop the handoff. No, he is hitting the ball.
Yeah.
Takes the bolt down.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Re-roll, you're not gonna
It
do
literally
anything,
doesn't matter
so
at this
yeah.
point because he's only losing if there's a blitz or a timeout. Not losing, drawing if there's a blitz or a timeout.
Yeah. Scatter. Not
And a
looking
touchdown
too
this
good.
turn.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think my theme of the weekend that I'm going to keep coming back to until everyone's sick of me talking about it. Don't give up in Blood Bowl, even when the things are going against you. Diomed did not give up and has been rewarded very, very much in this second half.
Unbelievably. And what's super interesting is we had 5 out of 8 of the quarterfinals go to the tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've only had... Sorry, that's completely wrong. 5 of the 8 round of 16 games go to the tiebreaker, and then we had none of the quarterfinals, and then this semi-final could be decided in 2. You know, we had a win in the first game. Diomed just needs to draw in the second one.
Yeah, and we've been saying at the start, these two teams, because it's a mirror, draw can feel like the most likely outcome, so it's very, very difficult spot Andy's going to be in for this second game for sure.
Super difficult, yeah, because he's got to do things like this, right? He has to push for the win, and then, you know, go a bit risky and might get punished.
But super difficult for Andy. Great for the drama of watching it. I love this setup with these 3-game ties of when you know someone's got to push for the win, it changes the dynamic of how they play, it makes them play in a more aggressive way, and I think that makes for great spectacle here on these streams. So hopefully we'll get an exciting second game, whatever happens next. That is really the last nail in the coffin. The coffin has been shut for quite some time, but someone was just dawdling with that last nail, I guess, because now it is, I think, literally impossible rather than just realistically impossible.
It is still technically possible, right? Because Andy could score on turn 16, and then Diomed would have his turn 16. So Andy, there could be a timeout, and Andy could reverse 1 turn.
It's not over, Kickoff. It's not over. Don't say it's over.
Technically possible. About a 1 in a billion chance. There's about a 1 in a billion. But But yeah, I mean, it is definitely over. But there's a 1 in a billion chance. Now it's about more than that.
I'm guessing the lag situation improved itself because Diomed did not use much time make those last few turns, or maybe it was just because the game situation put itself in a spot where it was looking pretty good. So a big result in our first semi-final of the weekend. Jimmy, safe to say that is not what we expected.
Well, I mean, the way it went, no.
Yeah.
The way it went was ridiculous. Like, you know, Andy did get the look earlier, which wasn't completely unexpected because he did have the double claws and he was going to play with that way to try to get lucky. He got that good look in the first half, forced in the early score, and then, you know, maybe I would have expected him to try harder for the score. I was surprised that he went for the wolf hits on the LOS. You know, when he was really trying in the second half to get that desperation, he went with the wolves for more desperation. I feel like he should have put more desperation into his 3-turn attempt in the first half. And if he'd got that and he goes in at 1-1, he tries a normal drive. He protects the ball. He layers the defences, he picks it up and he drives it home for 1-1. But because he's 1-0, you know, because he's 1-0 behind, because, you know, he sees the Wraith getting sent off, he has to go for the win. I don't blame him at all for going for the win. I'd have done the same. 3 players down versus Diomed. Like Diomed with 3 players down, it's the perfect chance to go for a win, and then the rain got him.
Yeah, absolutely extraordinary. And just again shows how the luck can swing back and forth.